Moving on to Nigeria and still on the university world news, the Nigerian government has announced the cancellation of 22,700 degree certificates obtained by Nigerians from unaccredited universities in Benin and Togo between 2019 and 2023. This move is part of a broader crackdown on degree fraud that has tainted the country's education system. Professor Tahir Maman, Nigerian's Minister of Education, revealed the findings on 23rd August during a speech marking his one-year anniversary in office. He stated that approximately 21,600 Nigerians obtained their degrees from unaccredited institutions in Benin, while 1,105 acquired them from unaccredited universities in Togo. Maman emphasized that the invalidation of these degrees is necessary to protect the integrity of Nigeria's education system. The Nigerian government's decision follows an investigation led by a committee established in February 2024 to address the issue of degree mills and racketeering. The committee, chaired by Professor Jabrila Amin, made several recommendations for reform, including the suspension of certificate evaluation and accreditation from certain countries pending further investigations. The government's action was prompted by a report from journalist Oman Audu, who uncovered the ease with which fake degrees could be obtained and used for official purposes in Nigeria. The minister warned that individuals in possession of these fake degrees, particularly those employed in the public and private sectors, would face disciplinary action. That is from Nigeria, and we are joined here by the communications officer at Center for Food Technology and Research in Benue State University, Nigeria, who is going to share with us what is going on in this Nigeria and what are the actions or the way forward from this. Hello, Mr. Dr. Benjamin. Can you hear me?
Very clearly. How are you? Are you hearing
Hello,
me?
Doc.
How are you? Are you hearing me?
Hello, Doc. Please, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you clearly.
Great, great, great. You're welcome to Hello
Yes.
Africa Morning Show.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm fine, yourself?
I'm all right.
Great. So this story is from Nigeria where the government has cancelled over 22,000 degree certificates obtained by Nigerian students. Now, I would like to ask, how were these unaccredited universities in Benin and also Togo able to operate and issue fake degrees to such a large number of Nigerians?
Thank you very much for having me. But let me say that how they are able to operate in Togo, the unaccredited universities in Togo and Benin Republic, how they are able to operate is difficult for me to say. But I can only say why a couple of Nigerians or a large number of Nigerians enroll in such universities. What happens is that the quality of education in Nigeria, like you know, is very high and understandably so. And a number of students who enroll in such universities are people who are not able to pass through the rigor of quality education in Nigeria, and people who have the resources to, enroll in any other university. And so what happens that a couple of times they they are not able to pass through, they are either withdrawn, suspended from regular universities in Nigeria, and then they take to some of these other universities in Benin and Togo to get their education in these countries. So it is not within my authority to know why a large number of universities in Benin and Togo are not accredited, but I can only say that the number of students that you have talked about, 22,700 certificates that have been invalidated by the government of Nigeria, are those who are unable to pass through the rigor of quality education in Nigeria. So that's where we are at the moment. Are we together?
Thank you for your submission. And I would like to know whether there is some specific pressure, probably societal and or economic pressure on in Nigeria that is making students go for these unaccredited certificates or fake certificates.
No, I think I must admit that there is a misplacement of value in our social system. And what I mean by that is that we tend to place so much emphasis on certificate rather than competence. So when people have competence to, produce, they tend not to be recognized by the government. And so people think that once they have certificate, they will be able to gain entry into government participation, either in politics or in any other area of development. So they think that the way to go is to at least have any kind of certificate, and so as to gain participation, in government and development. And I think that that's an area that government also need to take a look, because once you don't recognize competence and you place emphasis on certificate for whatever it is, this is always going to be the result. So the result we're having is a fallout of the fact that government over the years seems to place more emphasis on certificate rather than on purpose. That's where we are, and until that is changed, we may not be able to do anything good about it. So it's certainly not the issue of pressure of economic or social pressure, maybe social pressure, but not economic pressure that is forcing people to go and take degrees from unaccredited universities in other parts of Africa, particularly Togo and Benin Republic.
So someone hearing this for the first time is going to be scared, at the same time questioning, especially from other African countries, questioning whether their certificate is accredited or not. So how is this fake certificates done? Is it that they don't go to school, they just go to see the faculty and then give them money, as in corruption, so that they acquire the certificate, or they're actually going to school for the whole year, maybe 4 years, 3 years, 1 year, or 2 years, and then they get the certificate. But unfortunately, the school has not been accredited to give such certificates. How is this? If you can probably explain to us the what goes into the fake certificates.
Yeah, the issue is it is not that the university, what you cannot justify whether once the university is not accredited, there is no justification that can hold for it in any part of the world. That is global best practice. Universities that are supposed to issue certificate are universities that are accredited by relevant authorities. So whether in Benin or Togo or any part of the world that universities are not accredited, they cannot offer degrees to students or prospective students. So what is happening is when people create institutions without legitimacy, then that in itself is an error, and it's a system error in those countries. And I've told you why some Nigerians choose to patronize such universities, because we have a rigorous, tight value attached to university education in Nigeria. And a number of these students are unable to pass through this strength quality education that we have in Nigeria and find themselves enlisting because they have the resources to do so. But the idea is that whether the university is formed in any part of the world and that university is not accredited, the university has no business to offer a certificate to anybody whatsoever. So you can see that why the government of Nigeria is bent on invalidating this certificate is the fact that there is no justification for error. An error is not subjective in any part of the world. Once it's an error, irrespective of how old or how it has lasted. But the point is that government is aware now that people are coming with fake degrees from some of these institutions in Benin and Togo, and government is bent on invalidating those certificates, and action is already taken, even in institutions, to ensure that those certificates are not recognized.
Thank you very much. And so certificate or students whose certificate has been cancelled, meaning they are not able to, or they won't be able to use their certificate to apply, or probably if they are in a working environment, they may be in a dangerous situation, probably being sacked. What do you think, or what is the government doing to kind of compensate these students? I don't know if it's the right way to say, but obviously I may have gone to school. I didn't know that my certificate is unaccredited, and here I am in this situation. What is the government trying to do to help these students whose certificate has been cancelled?
Yeah, that is good, but that is sentiment now. The correct thing is that what is wrong is not subjective. What is wrong, irrespective of the environment. And so the Nigerian government is insisting that those certificates are not valuable and they
Okay.
cannot be usable for employment in Nigeria. And for those who are already employed, government is insisting that those people are supposed to be withdrawn from such employment status. Yes, the issue of compensation, like you pointed out, is morally correct. Morally correct in the sense that some of these students perhaps don't know that the institutions they have studied or enlisted are not or were not accredited. So in that wise, it may be reasonable for government to take a look and then see how possible mitigating factors can be brought in to see how these students can be rehabilitated, because they are citizens of Nigeria, and it will not be correct for government to totally overlook the fact that some of them unknowingly, undertook some of the ventures they have. So it's proper for the government to take a look as you suggested. But what is right, and what is wrong is wrong. So that's where we are at the moment.
Indeed, what is right, and what is wrong is wrong. Now, my next question is, how is the government, or what is the next plan? How is the government and the educational institutions going to work together henceforth to reduce the appeal of unaccredited institutions in Nigerian students?
What is it is for students to be prepared. It boils down to the quality of preparation. It boils down to the quality of education. And then once we have students who are ready to pass through the rigor of university education in Nigeria, that situation will be mitigated. Again, this is an enlightenment. There are quite a number of students who don't know that some of these universities are not accredited, are now aware that these universities are not accredited. And I'm not sure that anybody in his right senses will go and do what will not give him any positive outcome. So going forward, I do not think that Nigerians, knowing that government is bent on ensuring that if you have your certificate from any university, not only in Benin or Togo, any university in the world that is not accredited, it will have no value in our social and political system in Nigeria. But that knowledge is critical to decision making by prospective students who want to take university education in any other part of the world outside of Nigeria.
Now, when we look at the root causes of this situation, we have corruption being number one. We have unemployment, which is kind of drive forcing students to go for this fake certificate, as well as lack of information. Like you said, some of these students do not know that the universities are unaccredited, or they are not credited. What would be your advice to these situations? How do you think this can be kept in terms of corruption, unemployment, and also lack of information?
Yeah, these are very important issues that government will need to look at. But the issue of corruption, I don't know where you are thinking that corruption is coming from, whether from this government sector or general Nigerian milieu. But the important thing is that corruption is everywhere. If you leave Nigeria to any other part of the world, it's the dimension that we're talking about. But the important thing is for government to insist that the right thing is done. And in doing the right thing, like I said earlier, we need to recognize the fact that some of these students who have graduated from some of these graduates from these unaccredited universities are Nigerians, and we must find a soft landing for them. We should be able to find a soft landing for them so that their situation, will not be totally or terribly devastated. So, in my view, like you pointed out, there is economic pressure not only in Nigeria but in most other countries in developing countries of the world, especially in Africa. So we cannot afford to be hard in a way that we frustrate people and turn them to something else, especially with the spate of banditry and so many other vices that are already obvious in our social system. So I think government need to take a look and see how the mitigating factors can bring some kind of rehabilitation and a restatement to whatever credible system that we have in Nigeria.
Mm. Thank you very much, Dr. Benjamin Ejuwa, Ogbu, for joining us on Hello Africa Morning Show. Indeed, it is quite important that the government step up to let people know that fake certificate, it is not the right thing. And actually, the government canceling their certificate is a good strategy for people to know that, okay, the government is actually serious on this situation. Thank you very much for joining us once again, and we hope to engage you and another time on a different story.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. The AAU team. God bless
Great.
you.
Okay. Have a nice day.